Hey guys, what's up? I'm Richard Beck, and I'm going to be welding up a BA shredder. I'm going to be doing it live, so I already welded one base fully. I'm going to go grab some parts, and we're going to do another one of these. I got an order. Every time I get an order for one, I weld two. So if I get an order for two, I weld three. I always weld an extra one, so that way your wait won't be as long. The problem is I sold two at a time, so now I'm a little behind, so I need to weld two to cover this one order. So I'm going to set this one down, and I'm going to quick grab the parts. I'll be right back, and we will start welding it up. All right, so here are the parts. We got a bridge. We got the two supports. And we have the base. Now, some people are like, oh, you gotta soak them in vinegar. No, you don't. Just wipe them off. If you got a good welder, and you are a good welder, you won't need to soak these. You can burn right through the mill scale. It's actually really easy. So, we're gonna grab the first part here. These have some oil on them, so I'm just wiping the oil off. Honestly, I'm just mostly spreading it around, but these welds are going to be super hot. And I'm pulse welding, right? So I can have a really high peak welding force, but not burn through and not run downhill because I have a dual pulse MIG welder. I'm going to try to scoot you guys back a little bit more so you can see what's going on here. So, all I do, I start off by tacking everything in place. After everything has been tacked, I go through and fully weld it. So, first thing, I line up the seams here, press those together, and I'm going to hit the top with a tack and the bottom with a tack. So that's tacked. Tack. Alright, so it's fully tacked. At this point, I'm going to alternate the heat. I'm going to start here, then I'm going to go over here, then I'm going to go over here, then I'm going to go over here. It's kind of like lug nuts in your car. You want to spread that heat around so you can make sure that you're getting the maximum penetration. Hold on, I forgot to set my messages to all. Live chat, all messages are visible. Let's switch that over. If you have any questions while I'm doing this, leave them in the comments, and I'll periodically try to check every now and again and answer as many as I can. So, I'm going to weld this first one. Do I want to change any settings here? Let's increase the peak arc force just a smidge. We're about 5 amps. Alright, so now it's going to hit a little harder in the when it's going da 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 da. I raised the higher, the high setting another 5 amps, and then volts, and then I pulled back a little bit so I get a little bit deeper into that weld. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm liking that a lot. All I did was raise high pulse, make it a little bit hotter, and increase the wire speed so I can really jam it down into the root and get a good, I don't know if you can see that, probably can't, but this welder, it's a MIG welder, and it will totally stack dimes. Can you see it? So if you want a MIG welder that functions like a TIG welder, this is the one you need. I will put a link in the description of this video after I'm done and I edit everything. I'll throw a link to the welder, and I'll throw a link to the BA shredder if you're not familiar with the BA shredder. Well, let's go ahead and keep on welding. We got one weld status. Alright, we're going to flip around to this other side. Alright, one more side, and then the bottom will be all done, and then I'll weld these sides. Now you're probably wondering, Richard, why don't you clamp down the corners? I specifically don't clamp down the corners because I've got this material thickness so dialed in that when you weld it, each corner will raise up about 1/16 of an inch. And what that does, when you bolt this grinder down, it's pre-tensioned, right? So it's kind of like a lock washer. That pre-tensioned flexing, when you flex it straight and you bolt it down, will actually reduce vibration because it's basically working like a spring, pressing the center of it into the workbench with extra force, right? So I'm kind of creating like a wave washer type. That's why I've got these thin spots. So I've got thin spots here, and then these tabs stick out, right? So what happens is this heat concentrates, and it just pulls the tips up the perfect amount. So some people think this shape's just cosmetic, but it's not. This shape actually performs that lifting function on all four corners. Now, let's say you're not going to bolt it down. Let's say you're going to run the anti-vibration feet, right? So at that point, it's holding it up off the ground, and the warp isn't enough to physically see with the naked eye. So in that case, I mean, if you know you're never going to bolt it down, you could clamp this and not let it do the 1/16 of an inch pull on all the corners. But I like to just allow that just in case somebody wants to bolt it down. Because when I'm welding these up, I don't know what their intent is. So it basically, I don't want to sell somebody a car with only part of the functions. So, all right, we got one more side here to do. And I might adjust. I'll pull that back. I'm really starting to get this really dialed in. Every time I weld one of these, I get my settings more and more dialed in. Oh yeah, we're getting real dialed in now. Make sure I hit save. This welder has 10 presets. So as I get this more and more dialed in, I just keep hitting save. And then every time I know I weld a BA shredder, it's setting number 1. All right, so I only have 2 more welds, and these are the biggest ones. And when I do this weld, a lot of times it like falls, the beads fall on my foot. So I'm gonna try to angle it this time, and maybe that won't happen. I'll get this thing up on my shoulder. Oops. That'll work. At the beginning, I have kind of a bad angle, so the first ½ inch of this weld is a bit complicated, but then eventually I get it turned just right, and then I can walk it real nice. Beautiful. Man, it's getting so hot, it's like I can feel it through the glove. Do you use anti-spatter when welding? Normally I do if I'm MIG welding, but now with this welder, I'm actually spray welding. So when I spray weld, it basically functions just like a TIG welder. And so basically, the arc is melting right by the gun, and it's spraying the liquid metal on, very similar to how a TIG welder works, so there isn't any spatter to avoid when you're spray welding. Now the problem with spray welding is if you're not at a perfectly flat, horizontal, weld, it wants to run because it's super liquid. But if you pulse the spray weld, it won't run. And then if you dual pulse the spray weld, you can create dimes just like your TIG welding. So when you hear that the loud part, that's when it's kicking up to 155 amps. And then you hear the low part where it's like da 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 da. When it's low, it's down to 120 amps. And then I can change what percentage it does. So I have a 1 second pulse, and right now it's at I think 45%. So it's on the low 45% of the time, and that's on the high the remainder of that 1 second pulse. And on top of that, I can also dial in how much burn back it has with the the inductance setting. So this welder is insane, and it actually wasn't that hard to figure out. I'll be honest, it took a little bit, but I read the manual. If you're interested in Everlast welder, just put a comment there or check the description of this video. Once it's over, I'm going to go back and I'll put a link to this welder. So I got one more long bead, and the greatest thing is when you get done, people are like, oh, did you tell that? Nope, I used a MIG welder. This is like cheating. I could probably weld this with my eyes closed and it would still look good. Literally. If this wasn't a customer product, I would totally do that. Maybe here. So I'm going to take this piece right here, put it down here, and I'm going to weld without even... What's up? I'm live. Oh, okay. So don't look at the bright light, okay? And back up just a little bit since you have flip-flops on. All right. So is what I'm going to do. I'm going to weld a bead right here without even looking, and we're going to see how it looks. All right. So So that one doesn't have the dime stack. Let me see if I can do it again. This time I'll try to move a little bit faster. This time I'll look at it, right? Okay, let's be real. I'm gonna stack this one now. Clean off the soot. Where'd the brush go? Ugh. So some smoke on here. So can you see that? That's a MIG weld, guys. It's getting hot. It is really hot. Ah! See if I can't get that to focus. There you go. You can kind of see it right there. A MIG welder. And that's the pulsing effect. Anna actually knows how to TIG weld. It's been a while since she practiced, but you might have to practice. You shocked yourself? Alright, I'm going to weld again, so don't look at the bright light. Alright, I got one more here. There you go, that's a cup holder. There we go. Beautiful stack of dimes. Whew. I'm getting hot. All right, this one is fully welded. Double check. Yep. All right, so that is the second base. This live's probably going on quite a while. I try to keep them, you know, under 10 minutes, but I'm probably like 15. So I'm going to sign off, and I probably won't get back inside for a couple more hours. So check back tomorrow if you're interested in a link for this welder. Also, if you use the link that I put in this description, I do get a kickback. I'll get a commission, and that really helps out. So if you're already going to buy an Everlast, send me a message, and I'll give you a link, and then we'll both have a great day. You'll love it. I love it. I mean, the proof is right here. So I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for stopping. Thanks for watching. And thanks for commenting below. That really helps boost the engagement metrics. And I appreciate it, and I appreciate you.